Hello, everyone, and welcome back, where we unpack the stories that matter most in the finance world. Our story now: a sharp rise in cryptocurrency investment fraud is prompting the National Crime Agency, the NCA, to launch a new awareness campaign aimed at young men. It's being called Crypto Dream Scam Nightmare. The campaign warns that fraudsters are using social media and dating apps to lure in unsuspecting victims, mostly men under 45, with promises of extraordinary returns. These scams often start small. Take one case featured in a new NCA video, where a man invests just £500 and soon believes his balance has soared to £28,000. Within 6 months, he's told he's hitting £400,000 just from his £500 investment. But it's all an illusion. The so-called trading platforms are completely fake. They're designed to show fake profits, convincing investors that their money is growing, when in reality it's being stolen. The National Crime Agency says victims are often bombarded with slick marketing, being told they're joining an exclusive investment club, sometimes led by a self-proclaimed finance guru or professor or expert or, leader of a rich club. They're even warned not to tell friends or family about their new opportunity, a classic red flag. And while some platforms allow a small initial withdrawal to build trust, later attempts are blocked by invented fees, penalties, or fake taxes to make you feel pressure to not take money out. The Deputy Director for Fraud at the National Economic Crime Centre at the National Crime Agency says crypto investment scams are among the fastest growing types of fraud in the UK. The National Crime Agency is working with international partners to target the networks behind them. But the Deputy Director warns that prevention is just as important as enforcement. So how can you stay safe? The National Crime Agency has shared 10 top tips to protect yourself from crypto scammers. Here are a few highlights. Don't respond to unsolicited offers to invest or trade crypto, especially on social media or dating platforms. Be wary if someone pressures you to keep investing, especially outside of business hours. Watch out for anyone who tries to move the conversation quickly off to encrypted apps like WhatsApp or Telegram. And remember, even if you manage to make a small withdrawal at first, that doesn't mean that the platform is real. Action Fraud reported that over 17,000 crypto investment fraud incidences were filed in 2024 alone, and most victims were men aged 25 to 44. So if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Please look out for the poster that's been put out in the video by the National Crime Agency talking about crypto scams. A healthcare professional has been prosecuted and punished for several years after investigation found they claimed sick pay from an employer while secretly working shifts at several other employers. Authorities say that the individual repeatedly missed their main employer by reporting that they were unable to work while continuing to take on work in other places. During the investigation, counter-fraud teams discovered that the practitioner had taken leave for an extended period, yet had been clocking in for additional work at multiple other providers and institutions during that same time. Investigators gathered payroll evidence and timesheet data confirming overlapping hours, and interviews revealed that the person had never sought nor received permission to take on secondary employment elsewhere. A senior judge who led the case described the conduct as a deliberate deception that betrayed both professional standards and public trust. The National Crime Authority in the country said that the case highlights a clear and calculated abuse of trust, adding that every instance of fraud diverts vital resources away from those that require it the most. They also stressed that the efforts to detect and prevent financial misconduct across public services remain a top priority, combining intelligence sharing, investigation, and prosecution when necessary. The case serves as a reminder that ethical responsibility is fundamental to public service and that systems of accountability are there to protect both staff and the people who rely on them. In other finance and fraud-related news from across the world, an international audit firm has been hit with serious disciplinary sanctions after an investigation uncovered widespread misconduct in its audit practice, involving some of its senior partners and members of its management team. The professional regulator in the country, responsible for maintaining standards, found systematic failures in oversight, supervision, and internal controls spanning several years. According to the investigation, a manager was able to fabricate audit evidence and approve reports without proper authorization, going undetected for a prolonged period. It was revealed that senior auditors responsible for supervising the work had failed to exercise adequate oversight, allowing multiple unauthorized audit reports to be issued and undermining the integrity of the audit process. The regulator described the firm's internal control systems during this period as insufficiently robust, highlighting that weaknesses in governance and quality management created conditions in which misconduct could flourish unnoticed. In its findings, the disciplinary body issued a strong public reprimand and ordered the audit firm and the individuals involved to pay significant financial penalties. The former audit partners received professional bans lasting several years, reflecting what the regulator called a serious failure of professional duty and ethical responsibility. The case also emphasized that when early warning signs of dishonesty began to surface, the firm did not take the necessary steps to investigate nor protect clients, further aggravating the matter. A spokesperson for the firm said that they acknowledged serious shortcomings in their internal processes and apologized for what they described as historic failures in supervision and quality control. They added that none of the individuals involved remain with the organization and that new systems have since been implemented to strengthen oversight and ensure full compliance with professional standards. The regulator wanted it to be known that sanctions send a clear message that audit quality, transparency, and ethical conduct are non-negotiable, and that trust in the profession must be earned through accountability at every level. And in other news relating to finance and fraud, a recent case highlighted the devastating impact of financial abuse within families after a court sentenced an individual for stealing funds from a relative from whom they were legally entrusted and had a form of power of attorney over. Investigators found that while acting under a legal authority designed to manage the relative's affairs, the person diverted significant sums of money into their own accounts and used some of it for personal spending. The misconduct came to light only after the older relative's passing, when professionals handling the estate discovered irregularities in financial records. Further inquiry revealed that shortly after gaining control of the accounts, large transfers had been made without justification. Claims that the funds were spent on home improvements and leisure activities for the relative could not be substantiated, with no evidence of work, receipts, nor credible witnesses to support the explanation. Authorities have also found that despite having full access to the relative's savings, basic care costs and essential items were neglected, leaving carers concerned about the person's well-being. A spokesperson for the Economic Crime Unit investigating the case said that the offender had betrayed the deep trust placed in them to act in the best interests of a vulnerable individual. They added that this kind of abuse is particularly distressing because it exploits both emotional and legal trust, often targeting those least able to protect themselves. The individual has since been sentenced to their legal system's custodial term, and a separate court hearing will determine whether any of the stolen money could be recovered in the country in which they are residing. This case serves as a stark reminder that power of attorney type of setups with legal power over somebody's finances comes with serious legal and moral obligations, Authorities continue to urge families to maintain transparency, involve multiple trusted parties where possible, and seek professional oversight to prevent abuse of position. This video is sponsored by Desert Palm Chartered Certified Accountants and Business Advisors FZCO in the UAE. Thank you very much for supporting this channel.